In the latter years of the 4th century, Bishop Nikitas of Remesiana, now known as Bela Palanka in Serbia, set out to bring the gospel to what he called those mountain wolves, the Besi. Apparently, his efforts were successful and the worship of Dionysus and other gods was soon suspended. But what's of interest to us is that this secluded Besi tribe was among the last of a people known as the Thracians. They had once inhabited an area covering most of modern-day Bulgaria, parts of northern Greece, Romania, and the European part of Turkey. The Greek historian Herodotus, perhaps saying more of the state of geography in his time than anything else, claimed that in the parts of the world known to him, the Thracians were second only to the Indians in number, and that if it were not for their lack of unity, they would potentially be the most powerful people in the world. This lack of unity had led many of the Thracian tribes to fall to Darius the Great of Persia in the 6th century BC and become the satrapy or province of Scudra. After the Persians' defeat by the Greeks in 479, however, they lost control in Europe, and in the following decade, most, but not all, Thracian tribes were united under the rule of King Teres the First. He had been the ruler of the Odrysian tribe, situated at the borders of modern-day Bulgaria, Greece, and Turkey, and thus his new state went down in history as the Odrysian Kingdom. Apparently, Teres the First was very well known for his military abilities and spent much of his life on the battlefield. Incidentally, that's also where he died in 445 BC during a campaign against the fierce Tribali, one of the Thracian tribes which had refused to submit to his rule. He was succeeded first by a son called Spartacus, whose brief reign lasted until about 431 BC when Sitalces took over. Just like his father, Sitalces was gifted in the art of war and greatly enlarged the kingdom. During his reign, the border stretched from the Aegean in the south to the Danube in the north, and from the Black Sea in the east to the sources of the river Struma in the west. He did have plans to make it even larger though, and at the beginning of the Peloponnesian War, where the Delian League led by Athens and the Peloponnesian League led by Sparta fought for supremacy over Greece, he entered into an alliance with the Athenians and launched an attempted invasion of Macedon, then allied with Sparta. He is said to have amassed an army of some 150,000 Thracian warriors, and whether that's actually true or not, the army ought to have been fairly large, seeing as he was forced to retreat due to a lack of provisions. Sitalces died on the battlefield in 424 BC, but not against the Macedonians or Spartans, but once again against the fiercely independent Tribali. Next in line to the throne was Sitalces I. He is supposed to have been a nephew of Sitalces, and after becoming king he increased the tribute that the Thracians had been taking from the Greek cities along the coast. He is also said to have launched a campaign against Athens in 411 BC, but died about a year later. We then move on to King Amadocus I. During his time, Odryso-Athenian relations warmed up a bit, and he is known to have been a friend of the Athenian statesman, orator, and general Alcibiades. His reign was marked by turbulence at home, however, as the Tribali attacked once more, taking much of his territory. As the Greek historian Xenophon, who visited the country in the winter of 400 to 399 BC, remarks, the kingdom also found itself in the midst of a civil war. In the beginning of Amadocus' reign, he had appointed a man called Sitalces as ruler of the Aegean coastline, but now he had risen up and proclaimed himself as King Sitalces II. Xenophon tells us that these two were powerful rivals and faced off frequently. In the end, though, they were reconciled by Thracian, who is remembered for restoring Athenian democracy following a coup by a group of oligarchs. But that very same year, in 390 BC, Amadocus I died, probably from natural causes.